Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's second video, doing GWV Sunday Round-Up for today's second video. So this is going to be your Sunday afternoon eclectic mix of bits and that. We're going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature, anomalies, solar activity, QBO, SOI, NEO, AO, and the weather next 10 to 14 days as well. And beyond that, with CFS. So, yeah, long range look ahead and sit back, relax, enjoy. And I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just to say that the first video released today was the spring update. So that's like the fourth spring update combined with the first season one roundup for spring 2021. So again, 13 long range models together with that one. See what they're all showing for the spring. Have a look at that if you would like to do that. I'm going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock. We'll have our Sunday evening live stream at 6. And I shall see you there live on YouTube at 6 o'clock. Right, going to start with the QBO for this Sunday Roundup this week, the quasi-biennial oscillation, just to bring you up to date with that. So, of course, this is from NASA, the top of the stratosphere just here at 10 HPA. And then we've got the troposphere, which is the boundary level of the atmosphere where weather's taking place, just here, which is 30 to around 50 HPA. So the blue areas are where we've got the easterly QBO, the sort of brighter areas like the sandy brown colour, that is where we've got the westerly QBO. So we know what happened last year. We should have gone into the easterly phase of the quasi-biennial oscillation, but it failed. So we kept the westerly QBO going through the troposphere there with those raggedy, browny coloured bars. The easterly QBO mainly stuck at the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere. Westerly QBO then strengthened through the autumn and into winter, so it had been in quite a strong phase, the westerly QBO in the troposphere, but the easterly QBO still lurking at the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere. Very complicated situation we've been in with the QBO. So the easterly QBO continues to sit here in the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere. The westerly QBO goes on in the troposphere. If we zoom in, a week or two ago, it looked as though the easterly QBO was beginning to descend down from the stratosphere into the troposphere. At the moment, though, the easterly QBO sort of remains up there in the stratosphere, not quite pushing down. So actually, I've seen a bit of a strengthening again of westerly QBO through the troposphere. So we're still waiting for this easterly QBO to descend. It will descend in the end, but how long it's going to take, I don't know. Maybe we're going to be stuck in this situation of the easterly QBO in the stratosphere and westerly QBO in the troposphere forevermore. But I don't think so. I think eventually the easterly QBO will sort of descend down from the stratosphere into the troposphere. But definitely, like over the last week, we have actually seen a bit more of a strengthening of the westerly QBO. So the situation goes on. We thought, like a couple of weeks ago, that maybe it was coming to an end, and you know, this westerly QBO in the troposphere, easterly QBO in the stratosphere. We thought maybe that was coming to an end and we was going to go into the easterly QBO definitive. But definitely over the past week, we've seen a further strengthening again of that westerly QBO in the troposphere. So it still goes on. We still wait to see how this is going to resolve itself one way or the other. But for the moment, the westerly QBO remains in the troposphere. The easterly QBO remains in the stratosphere. We'll keep you updated. Of course, next week you'll have the QBO number in for January. I assume that will be showing a bit of a weakening of the westerly QBO from January, from like December to January. It'll show like a weakening, I think, that number. But we'll get that number in a couple of days and we'll bring that to you in next week's Sunday Roundup. Anyway. Right, so activity, this solar disk is looking on our side this day from solarham.net. I have a spotless solar disk, no visible sunspots whatsoever, so therefore solar activity is at very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days. Excuse me. This is the GWV Solar Activity Tracker, updated up to today, 31st of January, by James Ackrell, our good friend and keeper of the Solar Tracker, James. Thank you so much, James, for updating this. So, the orange line is depicting each individual day's worth of solar activity. So last week, we did a Sunday round. Last week, we was having a mini tick up in activity. We had more sunspots then than we'd had for a little while, all the way back to November, really. But recent days have actually gone spotless again. So you see the orange line is moving back down to the floor of the chart. Generally, we're at a very low level of solar activity. Still, we are like into the second year of solar cycle 25 now, but solar activity remains pretty low levels really for this point in the solar cycle. And in fact, the trend line, which is the red line there, the thick red line, is beginning to dip away again. So really, you'd expect trend lines to be lifting upwards now, but the trends are either flat or maybe even dropping ever so slightly at the moment. The solar cycle will gather pace, but again, it's very similar to solar cycle 24, which had a really slow start. This is another one that's having a slow start, and it tells us this is probably going to be another pretty weak solar cycle, I think, as as was the last solar cycle, number 24, was quite a weak solar cycle. This is going to be another pretty weak solar cycle as well. We do not know how weak this will be, but I think the slow start to solar cycle is telling us that it is likely to be a very, very weak solar cycle, really, or certainly a weaker than average solar cycle. Oh look, it's Obi Gav Kenobi. Hello there. Sent through by Richard. This is showing spotless days and the current spotless stretch. Hello there. Thank you, Rich, for sending this through. This is how we're looking 2021 so far. About 15 days without sunspots. That is 48% of the year. Bear in mind, we're only 1 month into the year, so it's quite a high percentage, really, being the second year of the solar cycle, and to be having around 50% of the month without sunspots. 2020, I had 208 days without sunspots. That was 57% of the year, and of course the solar minimum year was 2019, which had 281 days without sunspots. That was 77% of the year. It all looks quite similar to the beginning of solar cycle 24. So solar minimum year from 23-24 was 2008, which had 73% of the year without sunspots. 2009, the first year of solar cycle 24, was very, very weak, which was 71% of the year without sunspots. And 2010, the second year of solar cycle 24, had 14% of the year without sunspots, which doesn't sound like much, and it's quite a high percentage, really, for the second year of the solar cycle to have 14% without sunspots. So yeah, it was a slow start to solar cycle 24, and it's a slow start to solar cycle 25 as well. Thank you so much to James and to Richard for the solar data. I think we'll be doing Solar Sunday before too much longer. We're going to have to get a Solar Sunday in very, very soon, so watch your space for when Solar Sunday will be taking place. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a Solar Sunday. We only do 1 or 2 a year, so let me know in the comments if you'd like to see Solar Sunday soon. Right, this is how the oceans, we're looking at what we did last week's GWV Sunday Round-Up. These are sea surface temperature anomalies as of the 22nd of January. We've got our 3 areas of interest. We've got the ENSO region just here. We've got the North Pacific over there. And then, of course, got the North Atlantic over here. So let's deal with the ENSO region. First of all, this is the signature of La Nina that we have here in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, which is a colder than average area of sea surface temperature anomalies, known as La Nina. So we saw last week that La Nina had become central and western based. Sea surface temperature anomalies had lifted up slightly in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific. Let's have a look at the latest then. This is the latest as of 29th of January. So we can see that, again, it is central western based La Nina. Very little change over the past week. So colder than average sea surface temperature anomalies are through the central western equatorial Pacific. Is not as cold, perhaps a little bit warmer over in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. And so, yeah, we've got like a mature, weak to borderline moderate, central to western base La Nina, and that goes on. And will continue until the spring, when we will perhaps then go back to neutral, or if CFS is right, we might actually descend into an even stronger La Nina through the summer, but we'll have to see about that. Going further north into the North Pacific, again, this is how the North Pacific looked last week. This is the area we're looking at now, with a particular focus on the northeastern Pacific around here. So that's how things looked last week. This is the latest. Very little change up there. It is cooler in the northern and northeast Pacific than it has been for a little while. This area has cooled down quite a lot, so that's probably in response to the La Nina having an overall sort of cooling effect on the Pacific Ocean. So yes, a relatively, I mean, it's not cold, but a relatively cool northern and northeastern Pacific at the moment. Something that we haven't seen since probably winter 2017, 2018. And then going over to the Atlantic, and that's how the Atlantic looked last week. This is the latest for the Atlantic Ocean. Very little change there. The tropical Atlantic remains significantly warmer than average sea surface temperature anomalies, as does much of the northern Pacific as well. It's a bit cooler here over towards Ireland and the UK, and also off coast of Spain and Portugal as well. That's probably in response to like low pressure, the jet stream being forced southwards, stirring up the sea surface temperature, was in response to the blocking that we have up here. So yeah, very little change for the North Atlantic and North Pacific, and also for the Equatorial Pacific either. Oceans are looking very stable at the moment. Southern Oscillation Index looks like this. So remember, it's just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It's measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. So when the SOI is in its positive phase, then the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is in its negative phase, atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. And you can see that we are continuing to be in the positive phase of the Southern Oscillation Index, as you would expect, given we've got a mature La Nina. So these are some of our daily returns. We've got the 26th of January with an SOI number of plus 25.16, 27th of January SOI number of plus 30.39, 28th of January SOI number plus 21.11. These are very, very positive numbers. Atmospheric state very strongly reflective of La Nina, therefore. Going to more recent days, not quite as strongly positive with the SOI, but even so, still in the positive phase, plus 8.91 on the 29th, plus 6.65 on the 30th, and plus 6.18 on the 31st of January. It's all very much reflective of La Nina at the moment, as you would expect. Right, so this is how the Arctic Oscillation Observed and Forecast chart is looking. So remember, with the AO, again, just measuring air pressures, this time in the Arctic rather than the Southern Pacific Ocean. The black line shows where we've been with the AO red line, so where GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to go. So once again, we see that the AO has been in its negative phase pretty much throughout the whole of winter. We went negative with the Arctic Oscillation around the 1st of December. We're still negative with the AO right now as we come to the end of January. GFS ensembles are generally forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to stay negative as well through the first half of February. There are a few ensemble members that are lifting positive with the AO. They're in the minority, though. Most of these GFS ensemble members are keeping the AO in its negative phase. So when the Arctic Oscillation is negative, that's telling us we've got blocking. It's always the weather that drives the index. So if the Arctic Oscillation is negative, then we're going to have blocking somewhere over the Arctic and the North Pole. We have had a lot of blocking through this winter. That's the reason that the AO has been negative. It's a reason that we've had a colder winter, not just in the UK, but in Northern Europe as well. So yeah, negative AO set to go on. NAO, observed and forecast, same idea. So again, black line shows where we've been with the North Atlantic Oscillation. Red lines at the end where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the NAO to go. NAO has been neutral to weakly negative through this winter generally. We're still neutral to weakly negative right now. GFS ensembles are forecasting we're going to stay around neutral to weakly negative through the first week or so of February. Then maybe a more definitive shift into positivity of the NAO as we move up towards the middle part of February. So the LEO could be on the move, and it could be starting to head into a more positive type situation as we move in further on into February. That could be indicative of like a strengthening of the Azores High, which haven't seen much of this winter, but we could be seeing a strengthening of the Azores High there as we go further on into February, and maybe a strengthening of the Icelandic low as well. But bear in mind, we have got the AO still forecast to be very negative, so that indicates that blocking goes on. So we're possibly going to have a bit of a fight between the Atlantic and the Arctic as we go further on into February. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. Right, let's do some forecasting then. So these are GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. Looking at Lincoln again today, where we looked at yesterday. Red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Lincoln. We're starting off pretty cold at the moment. The temperatures, surface and upper air temperatures are going to lift up a bit around the middle of this week, and then falling away as we go into the end of the week and next weekend. So the GFS ensembles are indicating chance of quite a cold spell actually over next weekend in particular, and early on into the following week. A lot of these ensemble members are clustering here between around -10 and -15 at 850 HPA. So yeah, it looks like the GFS ensemble still want to bring in cold air from east. Bit of a recovery taking place as we go into the middle part of February. Perhaps we do see the ensemble mean, which is the white line of many of these ensemble members lifting up as we go into the middle part of February, so possibly becoming milder then. But bear in mind, there's a lot of scatter there. We have got these very mild ensemble members up here, but we've also got a lot of cold ensemble members down there. So from around the 12th of February onwards, it does become very uncertain. But certainly the GFS ensembles are still strongly going for this much colder spell of weather next weekend in particular. 6th, 7th, 8th of February looking really quite cold. Precipitation wise, quite a lot of dry weather over the next couple of days, and it turns really unsettled around the middle part of the week. As it gets cold around here, we have still got quite a lot of precipitation spikes then. And so you have to think, this trend into next weekend will be more towards snow rather than rain. Temperature anomalies from the 31st of January to the 8th of February, cold on average really for most parts of the British Isles. Notice Northern Europe looking very cold as well, particularly focused on Scandinavia. Precipitation anomalies from the 31st of January to the 8th of February, rather above average, so cold and unsettled. And again, it does raise the prospect by next weekend that we could see some snow. Latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that we are cold at the moment. We're bringing in the wind from the north and also from the east. Our mild westerly winds are being pushed down to the Bay of Biscay at the moment. We are going to see the temperature lifting up through the early to middle part of this week. Down in the south it will become milder, but in the north we'll probably hang on to those cold easterlies throughout the week, and towards the end of next week, or this week, or next week, we're going to see those cold northeasts probably pushing southwards once again. Excuse me once more. Right, this is how the UK Met is looking for Wednesday, with low pressure to our southwest, bringing something a little bit milder to southern parts of the country, but cold easterlies across Scotland. As we go from Thursday into Friday, we find that low pressure dropping southwards. We start to bring the wind in from the east. Remember, to bring in the easterly winds, I explained this in yesterday's video, to bring in the easterly wind, we've got to get rid of this low pressure and send it south. We've got to send this low down to Biscay. If we do that, heights will rise to the northeast and we'll get wind into the east. Not all models are doing that. More on that a little bit later on. So the UK Met does it though. So as we go from Friday into Saturday, we see that heights are rising to our north, and we've got wind in from the east and from the northeast. There's a little area of low pressure in the North Sea as well. That's quite interesting because that could bring snow in from the east potentially there next weekend. Notice the low pressure has gone down to Spain with the jet stream as well. So yeah, the UK Met pulls off a cold easterly by next weekend. This is how the GFS 6Z, midnight run I should say, is looking. I'm going to show you midnight and the 6Z for this update. So this is how the GFS midnight run is showing, is looking. So again, low pressure around the country through the middle part of the week. End of the week we start to shift back low pressure down to the south. Here come the easterly winds. The GFS midnight run does pull in a cold easterly. So yeah, got low pressure around Biscay, high pressure blocking to the north. Winds are in from the east on the GFS midnight run. So proper easterly as well. Quite a long fetch easterly. The upper air temperatures look like that by the end of next weekend. We're pushing -10 Celsius firm through the country. So it does turn bitterly cold on those easterly winds, and they will be bringing in the risk of quite significant snow with them as well. Staying cold there on Tuesday the 9th February with the GFS midnight run again. The easterly wind is maintained. Got a little area of low pressure just to our south-southeast. That's interesting. That might bring some significant snow with it. By day 10, which is 10th of February, we're just beginning to tilt wind back round more towards the south-southeast. So perhaps become slightly less cold by day 10. Then a proper old battle ensues in the extended range of the GFS midnight run with high pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure out in the Atlantic. This is proper battleground UK stuff. There could be snow involved in this as low pressure comes up against that blocking area of high pressure over Scandinavia. That's the kind of thing that could deliver more snow. Actually, look how weather it's coming up against Scandinavian high and sort of stalling here. So we'll have a legacy of cold air over country. There's cold air sitting to our east as well that would undercut. So that looks like a classic sort of snow event around the middle part of February. Eventually the Atlantic does break through. It turns wetter, windier, in fact quite stormy there by the time it gets through to the end of the GFS midnight run, which is the 16th of February. The Atlantic is broken through and look quite stormy. Although the Scandinavian high goes on, actually, the Scandinavia, that doesn't go anywhere, and much of Scandinavia is still well and truly in the freezer. So again, all you need to do is just send this low pressure southeast, and the cold air is still there to our east, waiting to pounce. Right, that's the GFS midnight run. This is the GFS 6Z. So have a look at this one then. Again, got that low pressure over the top of the country through the middle part of the week. Friday below is still there. Heights are rising to the north. Do we send that low pressure southwards with the 6Z? We do, but it takes longer to do it, actually. So we get through to Sunday the 7th of February. We are going to be easterly in then, but particularly across the northern half of the country, it is a little bit slower to get that low pressure away to the south. And even into Monday the 8th, the low pressure still hasn't completely cleared away to the south. So this is definitely colder through central northern areas with those east winds. Down in the south, struggling to push the easterly through. There's the upper air temperature showing that the -10 Celsius iceberg is really confined to Scotland with this one. It is cold even in the south, but not really cold, not bitterly cold like it is further north with those easterly winds. There is a chance of snow, of course, down in the south with that low pressure hanging around. Now we go up towards day 10. We start to shift the wind around a little bit more towards the south-southeast. So it starts to bring up some milder air from the south. Still very cold across Scotland. And again, there's probably a front pushing south to north across the country. It might bring some quite significant snow with it as well. There's the upper air temperatures there for day 10, which is 10th of February. So reasonably mild at this point down in the south. Much, much colder further north. We then go off into a situation where low pressure is sitting close to the country, bringing mild air up from the south, losing the cold air up to the north. Let's see what happens as we get through to the end of the GFS 6Z run. So eventually the cold air begins to dig back in from the north again, and we start to pull those cold northerlies back in once more. Teaser winds, teaser winds, teaser winds. Exactly what we said it would be, a real teaser. Right, GM looks like that. So cold east winds for Scotland on Wednesday, a little bit less cold down across England and Wales. Let's see what this one does with the low pressure at the end of the week. So yeah, this is shifting that low pressure away to southwest and is getting the wind into the east and northeast next weekend. So the GM successfully takes the low pressure to both west and to the south of the country, builds up the block around Iceland, and in come those cold or bitterly cold northeasterly winds, and they will drag in snow showers with them as well. So no problems with the GM at all. GM is cold or very cold right way up to day 10 with the wind either from the east or from the north, and a lot of northern blocking involved in that as well. And we've got the ECM looking like this. Now, no, the ECM has not been moving that low pressure away to the south at the over the weekend, introducing the EC wind. Let's see what the midnight ECM run does. So Friday, again, the low pressure hanging around over country, not dropping southwards. Low pressure is still there over country on Saturday as well. It just does not want to get rid of that low pressure. So it never really turns cold in the south with the ECM, I don't think, and eventually we finish up pulling up like a mild or a very mild southwesterly to southerly wind with high pressure centering over the Alps. And that's a long fetch sort of southerly southwest with the air originating from the Canary Islands. I think it's a mild outlier. I don't know what's going on with the ECM at the moment, but of course it's a possibility. As I explained on Friday's video, cold weather, cold easterly winds are never guaranteed for us because of our place in the world, perched on the edge of the frozen continent, but next to the warm ocean. So it's always on a knife edge, or nearly always on a knife edge, and that is why we see so much variation from model to model, and also from run to run as well. So still, we don't really know what's going to happen at the end of this week and next weekend in terms of this easterly. Will we get the easterly in? If we do, will it bring bitterly cold air in? Will it lock in, or will it just be a couple of days cold weather and then we're back into milder stuff? It all remains to be seen and to be revealed, and of course we will be discussing this much more in our live stream after 6 o'clock tonight. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting live stream tonight. These are options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. It gets us to the 10th of February. We have 14 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure sitting over and to the east of the country and also to the west as well. High pressure blocking towards Greenland, and jet streams down here. So unsettled, and it could go either way. That you could either pull in like cold air from the north, or we could draw up some reasonably mild air from the south-southwest. This one, the 13 just here, nothing much about this. This is a distinctly cold scenario with high pressure in the middle of the Atlantic going up to Greenland and pulling in cold winds from a northeasterly direction. This one is also definitively cold with high pressure blocking around Greenland and ice, and low pressure to our east and south. And again, winds will be coming in from an east or a northeasterly direction. 8 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure from Greenland to Scandinavia. Low pressure out to our west, so that's going to be trying to maintain an easterly flow, but the low pressure coming in from west will also be trying to bring in westerlies, and that could be quite snowy. And then 7 with high pressure to our south, low pressure to our north, and bring up a southwesterly. And that does include the operational ECM run. Only 7 doing that though, so a mild outlier really with the ECM operation run at day 10 today. Let's go back to it. This idea was a mild outlier within the ECM ensembles, but of course, just because it's an outlier doesn't mean that it can't happen. It just isn't well supported. The idea isn't well supported by the ECM ensembles. Most ECM ensemble members are cold and blocked at day 10. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 15th of February. Have 20 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to our south and also blocking to the north, but low pressure way to the northwest. So this is probably pulling up a milder west-southwesterly wind. 16 with high pressure over country, ridging up towards Greenland. That's going to be dry, cold and frosty. And then 15 just here with blocking around Greenland, but trough of low pressure over top of the country. That's going to be unsettled. The ECM ensembles could be shifting something a little bit milder by mid-February, though, I have to say. So CMSV2 lastly, by the way, we'll show you the precipitation type forecast based on the ECM run in our live stream from Twetcho.com. That'll be coming up in the live stream Tonight. I decided to hold that back so we'd have something to look at, or something else to look at for the live stream. So CFS V2, last evening's a 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 31st of January to the 6th of February. The coming week will have low pressure over and to the south of the country, high pressure blocking to the north, should be pulling in quite cold winds or increasingly cold winds from the east and from the northeast. Week 2 is looking very blocked and potentially very cold. This is 7th to 13th of February. High pressure blocking to our north and up to Greenland. Low pressure will be in, or easy winds will be in across the country. Low pressure over northwestern Russia and in the Atlantic as well. So that could be really cold with a proper east-northeast wind in across not just the UK but much of Northern Europe. Week 3 is also looking very cold, 14th, 20th of February. CFS rock solid about this, isn't it? Rock solid, not deviating at all with the idea of extensive Greenland blocking low pressure across much of Northern Europe. Wind again will be in from the northeast or from the north to northeast. I mean, it just looks very cold and wintry for both weeks 2 and 3. And then week 4 looks like that. It's the 21st of February to 27th. High pressure then. More in the North Atlantic to the south of Greenland. Lower pressure close to the UK, across much of Western Southern Europe. Again, you expect winds to still be in from the east. So, you know, the CFS still going for this, as it has been consistently for many days now. What could be a really cold and wintry February. And this is how February looks overall in terms of the CFS monthly forecast. 700 millibar height anomaly still rock solid in the idea of extensive northern blocking within the northern latitudes. Low pressure to our south winds again in from the east. Temperature anomalies in CFS for February forecast be cold and average, which does not happen very often. You don't get CFS forecasting a cold and average month very often. Rare as hen's teeth, really, for CFS to do that. It is forecasting a cold average month and a very, very cold, bitterly cold month for much of Northern Europe as well, by the way. And the precipitation anomaly, as you'd expect, with a cold and blocked month, is going for a rather dry month as well, particularly so to our north. Very dry around Iceland, for example, indicative again of a lot of northern blocking and also over towards Norway too. So a really cold, wintry and blocked easterly February coming up if CFS is right. We shall see. Time will tell. If you enjoyed this Sunday Roundup, then please can you click like. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tell your friends about Gals Webbits as well. Get them to subscribe too. Got to put on around over 30 subscribers to get to 10.3k. So that's our next target. Ultimate target is 11k. Of course, ultimate target is going to be 20k. That's going to take a long time, I think. But yeah, next target is like 11k. Thank you so much, everybody, for subscribing and for doing that. If you do sub, you'll be able to see future weather content. Right, we'll be back at 6 o'clock with our live stream. Will we see the smoke clearing over the weekend? Will we get a better idea about what's happening with these EASES at weekend? You will find out when we do our live stream tonight from 6 o'clock. So I shall see you then. For GWV Sunday Round-Up this week, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.